Namaste. Welcome back to Ayurveda Bharati Bhaishajya Kalpana classes by Dr. Nayana Hegde. Today, we are going to study third part of Unit 3. The contents of today's class are Shushka, aardra, drava, dravya, grahana, niyama. That is, rules of dry, wet and liquid drugs. Grahyaagrahyata. And the last point is Nava, purana, dravya, grahana, niyama. So, we are going to study these 3 points one after another. Here, we are going to study first point of today's topic, that is Shushka, aardra, drava, dravya, grahana, niyama. Rules of dry, wet and liquid drugs. You see, in any kind of Ayurveda medicinal preparation, we use dry drugs, wet drugs or liquid drugs. Here, we are going to discuss classical rules of dry and wet drugs usage. That is, the general rules which are there for usage of dry and wet drugs. Acharya Sharangadaraji has given a reference, that is Shushkam Navinam Yad Dravyam Yojyam Sakala Karmasu Ardra Va Dvigunam Yunjat Esha Sarvatra Nishchayaha. Reference is Sharangadara Pratamakhanda, first chapter, 46th shloka. Here, Acharya tells one should always use dried and new drugs for all the pharmaceutical preparations. If fresh drug must be used, then the quantity of fresh drug becomes double to that of dry drugs. This is applicable everywhere. So, shloka wise, if you want to understand the shloka one by one, Shushkam Navinam Yadravyam Yojyam. If you are using any dravya for the medicinal preparation, Sakala Karma, all types of medicinal preparation, then you should use dry Shushka, Navina, that is new drug or newly harvested drug for the all kind of medicinal preparation. If in the second line, Acharya ji is telling, if you are in a circumstance where you have to use or you must be used wet drugs, then what should be the criteria? The criteria is you can use wet drugs, but the quantity of the wet drug is double to that of or twice to that of dry drug. That is what aardra, dviguna, yunjat. Then this is applicable everywhere. Sarvatra nishchayaha. So this is the general rules for the usage of dry and wet drugs. After understanding this rule, I think all are getting one doubt, that why we should follow this rule? What is the reason for this rule? That one we'll understand in the next slide. That is given here in Bhaishajya Ratnavali Paribhasha Prakarana. There is a reference which clears our doubt. The shloka is Shushkam dravyeshu yanmanam ardreshu dvigunam hitam Shushkasya guru tishkatvam tasmad ardam prayojayet. In comparison to Shushka dravya, pramana of ardra dravya is dviguna. So, if you are using ardra dravya in comparison to Shushka dravya, the pramana of ardra dravya is dviguna. Means, in comparison to dry drugs, If you are using wet drugs, the quantity should be double to that of dry drugs. Why? The reason is given in the second line. Shushkasya guru tikshnatvam tasmadardam prayojaye. Because dry drugs are guru and tikshna. Guru means heavy compared to aardra dravya. Tikshna compared to aardra dravya. Tikshna means here potency wise more stronger compared to wet drugs. In the image, you can understand two parts of wet drugs here. It becomes equivalent to one part of dry drugs, because dry drugs are heavy and more potent compared to wet drugs. So in the next slide, we are going to understand specific rules based on the dravya pramana. Specific rules based on the quantity of dravya. Here we are going to understand all the three forms, whether it is a liquid form of the drug or the dry form or the wet form. If we are taking wet drugs, dry drugs or the liquid drugs, what is the rule for the usage in medicinal preparation? The shloka is Gunjadi Manam Arabhya Yavasyat Kudavasthitihi Dravardra Shushka Dravyana Tavat Manam Samam Matam Prastadi Manam Arabhya Dvigunam Tat Drava Ardrayoho Manam Tata Tulaya Dvigunam Na Kvachit Smritam. Reference is Charangadara Pratama Khanda, first chapter, 33rd to 35th shloka, where Acharya ji is telling, if you are taking drava dravya, aardra dravya, shushka dravya in pramana of gunjadi mana to up to kudava, from gunja to kudava, that is, you have studied in the mana paribhasha or mana prakarana, that is 125 mg to 192 gram of liquid drugs, wet drugs and dry drugs. If you are taking, the quantity of these three forms are in samapramana, same quantity which is mentioned in the classical references. If the quantity of drug increases, that is prastadi manam arabhya vigunam tat drava ardrayoho. That is, if you are taking drava and ardra drugs, quantity of prasta to the khari, that is prasta, adaka, droni, shurpa, khari, then the pramana becomes double to that of dry drug. Dry drug is sama pramana, liquid drug and wet drug becomes dviguna, double the quantity. Then if you are taking 1 tula, manam tata tulaya means when you are taking tula pramana of the drug, that also becomes sama pramana. Okay, here in the shloka, dvigunam na kvachit smritam. No dviguna means sama pramana. That is, in this table we can understand clearly, that is dravya pramana from gunja to the kudava, that is 125 mg to 192 gram. Drava, ardra and shushka are in sama pramana. From prastha onwards, that is prastha, adaka, drona, shurpa, droni and khari, about 384 gram to 196 kg of drug if you are taking, then drava and ardra drugs becomes double the quantity. Shushka remains same quantity. If you are taking 1 tula pramana, that is 4.8 kg of drava, ardra, shushka, that is liquid, wet or dry drugs, then the quantity becomes sama pramana. Na dvigunam kvachit smritam. There is no double quantity is told in the classics. So this is the specific rule based on the quantity for drava, ardra and shushka dravyas, that is liquid, wet and dry drugs. So there is an exception. Even though they have told sarvatra nischayah, there is an exception. What is the exception? And exception is for which dravyas, or what are the dravyas which fall under the exception to the double quantity rule we are going to study now. That is, Charangadaraji has given the reference, one reference. The reference is Guduchi Kutajo Vasa Kushmandam Shatavari Ashwagandha Sahachari Shatapushpa Prasarini Pravoktavya Sadaivat Ardra Dviguna Naivakarai. The meaning of this shloka is the drugs which are mentioned in these two lines always use Pravoktavya Sadaivat, always use in ardra form, in wet or fresh form. And while using these dravyas in fresh or wet form, there is no dviguna rule. Double quantity rule is not followed. Naiva karaye. One should not use double quantity. The dravyas are Guduchi, Kutaja, Vasa, Kushmanda, Shatavari, Ashwagandha, Sahachara, Shatapushpa, and Prasarini. These drugs always used in ardra form. However, there is no double quantity rule for these dravyas. There is one more reference given by Bhaishajya Ratnavali, where he is giving some more drugs under the exception criteria. The some more drugs are Vasa, Nimba, Patola, Ketaki, Bala, Kushmanda, Shatavari, Punarnava, Kutaja, Ashwagandha, Putigandha, Amrita means Guduchi, Mansam, Jatamamsi, Nagabala, Sahachara, Purau means Gugulu, Hingu, Ardraka, and Ikshujata Rasaha means Ikshuvikaras, Sharkara, Guda, all this comes under Ikshuvikara. In the last line of this shloka, Grahya Takshanameva, these are freshly collected, and na dvigunita, no double quantity, not in double quantity. So here we understood about the first point. We understood the first point, that is Shushka, aardra, drava, dravya, grahana, niyama. Second point of today's class is Grahyaagrahyata. Grahyaagrahyata. Meaning of this word is selection and non-selection criteria. We can consider as selection and non-selection criteria of the drug. First one is Grahyata. Grahyata means grahana yogya lakshanas. Grahana yogya means if you want to select drug, these are the criteria it should pass, or these are the selection criteria. So here, general rule for the selection criteria we all studied in the first BAMS in Ashtanga Hridaya Sutrasthana. Also in Charaka Sutrasthana, we studied about the Dravya Lakshana under Chatushpada. In Ashtanga Hridaya, first chapter of Sutrasthana, Ayush Kamiya Adhyaya, while studying under the Chikitsa Chatushpada, we studied Dravya Lakshana. Similarly, in the Kuddaka Chatushpada of Charaka Sutrasthana, we studied Dravya Lakshana. The Charakas ref Bahuta Tatra Yogyatvam Aneka Vida Kalpana Sampatseti Chatushkoyam Dravyanam Guna Uchyate. Reference is Charaka Sutrasthana, Kuddaka Chatushpada Adhyaya, 9th chapter, 7th shloka. The meaning of this shloka is the drug, to select a drug for any kind of medicinal preparation, it should be Bahuta, Yogyata, Aneka Vida Kalpana, and Sampat. What is Bahuta? Bahuta is drug should be available abundantly. The drug should be available abundantly. If the scarcity of the drug or drug is available in very less quantity, so it is not a selection criteria because we can't use it for many medicinal preparation. Whenever we want to use for many medicinal preparation, we want in a larger quantity. That is what Acharya ji is telling, bahuta. That is abundantly available. Next one is yogyata. Yogyata means it should be yogya. Yogya means in the shloka, Chakrapani ji has given yogyata means pratikarmatvam vyadau. Pratikarmatvam vyadau means it should react over the disease. It should react over the disease, capable to act over the diseases. That is yogyata. Third point is aneka vida kalpana. With the help of this drug, we can prepare many medicinal preparation or many formulations can be prepared out of it. Then next point is sampat. Sampat is, you know, the literal meaning of the sampat is wealth. Drug must be wealthy. Wealthy in which way? Wealthy in prasadi panchaka way. It should have intact prasadi panchakas. That is the sampat for Ayurveda dravya, right? Prasadi panchakas are sampat for Ayurveda dravya. That is what Acharya ji is telling. And also, along with the rasadi panchakas, drug should not be spoiled or infested by krimi or any kind of external forces. So here, the general rule for the selection of dravya is dravya should be abundantly available and it should capable to act over the disease. And third one is many formulations can be prepared out of it. And the fourth one is it should have the prasadi panchakas intact in it and without infested with krimi or any external features, external forces we can take. In the last slide, we studied the general rules for the selection of dravya. Here, we are going to study specific rules for the specific part of the dravya. The reference is Atistula Jatayaha Yuhu Tasam Grahyaha Twachau Budaihi Grinniyat Sukshma Mulani Sakalani Api Buddhiman Nigrodadehe Twacho Grahyaha Sarah Syat Bijakaditaha Tali Sadesha Patrani Phalam Syat Tripaladitaha Datakya Desha Pushpani Snuyadehe Kshiramahare. The reference is Charangadara Pratamakhanda, first chapter, 60th to 61st shloka. In the shloka, Acharya ji is telling about one should collect root bark of a tree or a plant if it has thick or big roots. In the first line of the shloka, Atistula Jataha Tasam Grahya Twachau. If you are collecting their root and if the root is Atistula, big or thicker root, thick root, then you should not cut the root of that tree. Rather, you should use root bark for the medicinal preparations. Same way, if you are selecting or if you are collecting a root of a plant or tree, but the plant or the tree has tiny, thin roots, sukshma mulani, then you can collect sakala, means whole plant you can use for the medicinal preparations. Meaning, if the root is thick or big, then you should take a root bark. If the root is thin and small, you can take whole plant, panchanga of the plant. Similarly, whenever you are selecting negrodadi dravya, negroda, vata, udumbara, ashwata, then you should take the twacha of that tree. Twacha means stem bark should be used for the medicinal preparations of negrodadi dravyas. Similarly, if you are using bijaka, vijaya, then you should use sarabhaga of that plant or that tree. Okay, sarabhaga means heartwood of that dravya. Next, if you are selecting talisa, jati, teja, tejapatra, then you should use patra of that dravya. Usually, we remember these dravyas as talisa patra, jati patra, teja patra. So, the prayojya anga is intact with the name only. Okay. Same sloka or the same reference we can see here. If you are using talisadehe, then you should go for the usage of patra of that dravya. Similarly, if you are using amalaki, vibitaki, haritaki, or draksha, then you should go for phala of that dravya. Phala means fruit of that dravya. Then, if you are going for dataki, maduka, then you should select pushpa or flowers of that dravya. Dataki pushpa, maduka pushpa, you should use for medicinal preparation. Similarly, whenever you are going for snuhi and arka, you should go for shira or latex of that plant for the medicinal preparation. Here, negrodadi prayojya anga is tvak, bijaka vijaya prayojya anga is tara, talisadi prayojya anga is patra, trifala prayojya anga is phala, dataki prayojya anga is pushpa, snuhi prayojya anga is shira. Here we can understand Acharya ji is telling prayojya anga or most potent part of that plant or that drug, so that we are going to get maximum potency in our medicinal preparations. So this is the specific rule for the grahana or selection of dravya based on the part. Next, we are going to study agrahyata. Agrahyata means non-selection criteria, or if the drug has these features, then or drug falls under these features, that drug should be rejected from the medicinal usage. The reference is hima anala ushna durvata vyala laladi dushitam jantu dushtam jale magnam abhumijam anartavam anyadanya yuktam hina viryam जीर्णतयापि च धान्यं त्यजेत् तथा शाकं रूक्षसिद्धम् अकोमलम् असञ्जातरसं तद्वत् शुष्कं च अन्यत्र मूलकात् प्रायेण फलम् अप्येवं तथामं बिल्ववर्धितम्. अष्टांगहृदय सूत्रस्थान 6th chapter 142 142 142nd shloka. So here we are going to understand the agrahya or non-selection features of the dravyas. In the table, we'll understand it in a better way. So if the drug, dhanya, pulses or cereals have or falls under these features, that dhanya should be rejected from the medicinal uses. What are the features? The features are, if the dhanyas are affected or spoiled by hima, that is frost or mist, anala, that is fire or agni, ushna means extreme hot temperature or hot sun rays, durvata, polluted air, or the dhanya became spoiled by wind from the Purva Desha, and vyala, the dhanya is bited or smelt or touched by poisonous animals like any rat, a poisonous rat or snake. Second one is if the drug is jantudushtam. Jantudushtam means if the drug dhanya is infested by worm, then it should be rejected. And the next point is jale magnam. If the dhanya is spoiled by being drowned in water, by being drowned in water, that is जले मग्नम, पानी के अंदर डूब गया और उससे spoil हुआ, so it should be rejected. Abhumijam, abhumijam means it is cultivated in the anuchita kshetra. It is cultivated in the place which is not ideal for the selection of medicinal drugs. That is burial grounds, marshy lands, waterlogged lands, cremation places. That is abhumija. The drugs which are grown in that region are not be used for the medicinal preparations. Anartavam. If the drug is not a seasonal one, then it should be rejected. Anya dhanya yuktam. If the drug is mixed with some other variety of dhanya, particularly if there is any lower variety of dhanya, that is the adulteration you can understand as a adulteration, then it should be rejected from the medicinal uses. Hina viryam jeernatayati cha. The drug has lost its potency due to the long duration of storage. If the drug is stored for a very long period, eventually it loses its potency. The drug which lost its potency because of the long duration of storage should be rejected. So here, agrahya lakshanas or agrahya features given for the dhanya or the pulses are which are affected or spoiled by hima, anala, ushna, durvata, vyala, jantu dushta, that is infected by jantu or worms, jale magna, which got spoiled by being drowned in water, abhumija, which is cultivated in not an ideal place for the medicinal drugs, then anartava, if the drug is not a seasonal one, anya dhanya yukta, if it is mixed with other variety of drugs, that is the drug lost its potency due to the long duration of the storage. So in the next column, we are going to study about the Agrahyata features of Shaka, vegetables. The Agrahya features of vegetables are similar to that of the whatever the points which are given for the Dhanya also should be considered for the vegetables also. Along with that, they have given some more criteria. That is, if the drug is Ruksha or Ruksha Siddham. If the vegetable is Ruksha, the criteria is Ruksha Siddham, means if the drug is rough, not the smooth, then if the drug is processed with Ruksha Dravyas, then it should be rejected for the medicinal preparation. Akomalam. Akomalam means it is not soft. If the vegetable or the shaka is very hard, then it should not be used for the medicinal usage. Asanjata rasam, not only for the medicinal usage, you should not use for the day-to-day diet also. Next one is asanjata rasam. Asanjata rasam means na sanjata rasam, not grown properly or without the full features of rasadi panchaka. Rasadi panchakas are not in a full form. Then that vegetable should be rejected from the usage. Shushkam, if the vegetable has become dry, it should not be used for the medicinal preparation or even the day-to-day diet also. Here one exception they have given, that is mulaka can be used if the mulaka, even though mulaka is dry. Okay, the dry radish can be used for the preparation. Similarly, for the phala also they have given that the phala agrahya features are same. We have to consider which are given for the dhanya and shaka. Along with that, one more criteria they have given, that is ama phala should not be used. Unripe or not fully grown phala should not be used except bilva. Bilva can be used in Amavasta. So this is about the agrahya features which are given by Arya Vagbata for the non-selection of dravya. Last point of today's class, that is Nava Purana Dravya Grahana Niyama. So whenever we go for shopping, we tend to purchase new model or newly launched product, right? Same way, in the medicinal usage of dravyas, also we have a notion, or not only we, usually there is a notion that dravya should be always used from the freshly harvested one, or newly collected drugs should be used for the medicinal preparations. However, there are few exceptions where we are not going to use fresh ones, or we are going to use older form of the drug, or old drugs we are using. So Sharangadharaji has given one reference. We have already studied this sloka in the Dravya Sangrahana Vidhi, where Dravya Avastha, while studying the Dravya Avastha. Anyway, we are going to understand one more time. Navanyeva hi yogyani dravyani akila karmasu vina vidanga krishnabhyam gudadanyadya makshikaihi. Here, Acharya ji is telling, Navani eva hi yogyani dravyani akila karmasu. Almost all the drugs always be used from the freshly harvested or from the newly collected dravyas for all the preparations, all kind of preparations, except Vidanga, Krishna, that is Maricha, Guda, Jaggery, Dhanya, pulses, Ajya, Grita, ghee, Makshika, honey. These are used from the older one, or older dravyas. These dravyas are better. As the dravyas become older, they will be better in potency wise. So, in general, all the Navadravyas are used for the medicinal preparation, or all kind of medicinal preparation. Exception dravyas are Vidanga, Maricha, Guda, Dhanya, Ajya, and Makshika. One more reference we have regarding the Nava and Purana Dravya Grahanartha, that is given by Acharya Shushka. Vigandena aparamrishtam avipannam rasadibihi navadravyam puranam va grahyameva. So here Acharya Sushruta tells that one can use new drugs or older ones for the preparation of medicines unless there is no change in Gandha and Rasadi Panchaka. So here Acharya Sushruta is telling you can use old form or the newer one or the older one. You can use for the medicinal preparation unless there is no change in the Gandha and Rasadi Panchakas of the Dravya. So here we completed third part of Unit 3. That is Shushka aardra drava dravya grahana niyama, Grahyaagrahyata, and Nava Purana Dravya Grahana Niyama we have completed. Thank you.